Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our Instagram live series here on SHEIN Official. I am your host, Renee Ariel. Today, I am very excited to be sitting down with Belange of SHEIN X Belange Handmade to talk all about her career, how she got started, and so much more. So let me go on ahead and get her added into the chat, and let's get started. Moment. And thank you guys for joining us for another one of these live streams. There we go.
Hey,
Hi.
Renee. Can you
Hi.
hear me and see me okay?
Yes, I can. How are you
Hi.
doing, Solange?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. We're thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you so
First,
much for having me.
of course, first and foremost, can you tell our viewers just a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So I was born and raised in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's the big country in Central Africa. And I moved to the US when I was barely 18 years old. And I grew up in a family of five, supportive family, like a family of creative people. But I ended up being the only designer. So that's a little bit about me, per se. Other than that, my journey in the fashion industry wasn't really like a straight line like everybody like growing up loving fashion. I didn't really aspire to become a fashion designer. Never thought I would be one. I was aspiring to become an engineer like my father. So in high school, I studied mathematics and physics. That was my major in high school, and I fashion design came to me pretty much as an accident. It was during my senior year in high school that I found myself really loving handcrafts. So I started making like handbags, jewelries out of plastic bottles. I would make bracelets, earrings, necklaces, and I recycled a lot of like secondhand clothing to make handbags, backpacks, wallets, and all that. And little did I know it turned into a business and it became Belange and Made. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
I love that. So you said you moved to the U.S. When you were barely 18, but you
Yeah.
started kind of getting into designing with these pieces in your senior year of high school. So was this right
Yes.
before you moved?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. What it also, I'm always so fascinated by that people, by people that are able to like find their careers accidentally, like in creative ways like that. It's so cool to me, especially when you had such a different career path in mind, and then this was a calling to you, something that you're like, wait a second, I'm kind of good at this. So
Yeah.
tell me what happened from there. Where how did the ball start rolling for this to turn into a career for you?
So when I started, eventually I knew that I had to go to fashion school because I didn't
Yeah.
have a background in fashion. I didn't have a background in business. Besides just shadowing my mom, my mom had a retail store back then, and I used to shadow my mom. So I kind of learned a little bit about the business side of fashion and retail, but I didn't know the technical. Like I didn't have the technical skills. I didn't know how to sew. So before I moved to the US, I just started learning off YouTube. So watch videos, and I really wanted to make clothes, but I didn't know pattern making. I didn't really know sewing and all that. So everything I used to make was by hand. It was handmade. That's the name of my brand, Belange Handmade, and I kept the name because that's what I was doing. So when I moved to the US, it was a big shift for me, like starting from language because I moved from a French speaking country to an English speaking country, and I struggled a lot with language barrier. And then moving to a whole new country, I didn't know anybody, and I moved to the Midwest. So it wasn't like moving to New York,
Yeah.
starting my career in New York City. No, I moved straight to the Midwest, and it ended up being like the best decision of my life because that's where I learned everything about fashion. So the first school that I went to was Des Moines Area Community College, amazing college. So I did 2 years of fashion design and merchandising, but like it was mostly the business side of fashion. So while I was in that school, I was still I was still learning off YouTube on Google. And then I started learning a little bit about pattern making I would just buy stuff from Goodwill, like clothes from Goodwill. I would take them apart, and then I would just study like the way the garments are made, and that's how I kind of learned pattern making. And then after I graduated from DMAC, I went to Iowa State University. So I did 2 years there for creative and technical design. So that one was like really, I got deep into sewing, the pattern making, draping, but by the time I went to Iowa State, I kind of already had a strong background in the creative side and technical side of fashion. So it was really good. It was a very easy transition for me. I knew a lot about sewing, about pattern making, but there's still some technical terms that I did not know and some technical, tips and tricks that I didn't know. So it was a nice experience too. And then during that time, that's when I became really busy with like the business side of fashion. I did a lot of business competition at Iowa State. I did like I won national competitions. During that time also, I had one of my designs featured on Project Runway in 2019. So I was very busy, like while I was a full-time student, running my business full-time. And it was a very nice experience. And then after Iowa State, I decided to move to the West Coast. I was done with the Midwest at that point. That was 2020. I moved to California. I moved in LA. I moved my business in California, and then I continued there. And that was kind of the first time that I started with ready to wear. So before that, I was only doing custom clothing. I didn't really have a really big experience with ready to wear and mass production. So I did try, it worked out, but not the way I wanted. And at that point, that was 2021, I got really burnt out with fashion. I lost my creative touch. Like I didn't have any inspiration anymore. So I was actually contemplating closing down the business. That's the point where I reached. And then eventually I was like, let me just continue with education. I went to grad school. I ended up relocating in the East Coast. I went to New York. That's where I did grad school at LIM College. And then right after I graduated, that's when I came across this like amazing opportunity with SHEIN. I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a way for me to step back in the fashion industry after 2 years. So I took a break, almost 2 years. Yeah. And then this amazing opportunity came along. And now I've been with you guys and it's been amazing. And I'm also getting ready to go back to school for my PhD. So it's just been a lot of juggling.
You've had a lot going on.
Yeah, and at the same time, I was navigating motherhood. I became a first-time mom. So it's just like a lot of changes happening in my life, but they've been beautiful. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Clearly the pro multitasker, the one that I love just how good you are at problem solving. I think that that's such a skill set that not everyone is able to be like, okay, this is a roadblock. Let's think solution oriented. How can I get through this? How can I figure this out? Okay, figure this out. What about this? How can I balance all of this? I love that you never limited yourself and you were always about figuring out how to make it work. I think that especially in a career field like this that is so competitive, hard to get into, that is such an important skill set to have. So very impressed by you.
Thank you.
Of course. I would love to talk a little bit more about SHEIN X. So how long have you officially been a part of the program now?
Since March of 2023. So it's been almost a year. Time flies. Yeah, since March. Yeah, since March.
I love your collection. I love how colorful and vibrant it is. What were the inspirations behind this?
So my main inspiration is deeply rooted in nature, and especially plants and flowers, as you can see on my designs here. When I grew up, my mom used to have a lot of plants, and I used to help my mom in her beautiful garden. So I grew up around plants, and that's always been my main inspiration when I design. So that was my inspiration, for the motifs at least. For the silhouettes, I mean, I've been doing special events clothing before this collection. So I kind of I had to tune down my creativity and come up with something that is beautiful but also functional. So for the silhouettes, I was just thinking about me as a designer. People think I have all these extravagant dresses in my closet. Usually when you see me on the street, you will see me with jeans and t-shirt. That's why you see me. But when I go out, I like to go all out. So I was thinking about women like me, on a regular basis, you're not really, your face is not all beat up and all that. But when you go out, you really want to leave a long-lasting impression. And that was something I was thinking about with this collection, I really wanted to bring that out. So when I was designing, especially these two pieces, I was thinking about a transition between spring and summer. This collection ended up dropping in the fall, but I was thinking about somebody who wants to buy stuff in the fall, but getting ready for spring and summer. So the jumpsuit was inspired by the spring. That's why you see it, like it's all green, and the flowers are like, they're smaller than the dress. I was thinking about in the spring when flowers are just starting to come out and the colors are not really all bright and all that. So that's what the jumpsuit represents. But with the dress, you can see the flowers are much bigger and the background is pink and all that. So it's just spring and summer, but eventually you can wear all these designs all year long, like when you want to go out. I wore this dress at an event in October and I got so many compliments on this dress.
I bet. It's pretty.
Yeah.
Tell me, when you think about how do you want your consumers to feel when they're wearing your pieces? What comes to mind?
I really want to evoke self-confidence because this is something that I really, for the longest time, I struggled with self-confidence until I started doing fashion design. So this is something that I really want to evoke into my customers. But also, I really want them to be proud of themselves because they're being a part of a very big project. Through my business, I was able to start a nonprofit and I help low-income women in my home country who don't have access to feminine hygiene products. So we're fighting period poverty. So the proceeds of the sale from my designs, they fund my nonprofit. So it's not just you dressing, like putting on a beautiful garment, you're helping a woman somewhere. So it's something that is like really all my design. I put a lot of emotions into my designs because I want people to understand that it's not just wearing clothes, it's also helping other people. You're giving back, like literally you're giving back. So that's something that I really want my customer to feel like. I want them to be self-confident, but also be proud of the impact they're making in the society.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a beautiful feeling to evoke out of people wearing your designs. And I definitely think that they will, just given how colorful and happy these pieces are. I think when you're wearing something that you just like, you love, it makes you so happy when you see it, you automatically feel more confident when you put it on. And it makes you be like, yeah, I'm wearing this eye-catching piece. I love that. Have you had a favorite response from any customers so far?
Honestly, I didn't think my collection would sell, to be honest. Like I didn't think people would really love this bold, colorful, and floral print. I did not expect anything to sell. And the sales from the jumpsuit are really surprising me. I was thinking maybe the dress would be the best seller, but the jumpsuit ended up being so I was like, I'm excited but also confused. I'm like, okay. So the jumpsuit right now is still the best seller. It's still there, you can get it. And I read all the reviews and people send me messages as well. Like I've gotten so many positive responses. Like the garments fit perfectly, the fabrics are so soft, like everything is just ended up beautifully. And I'm proud of myself. Like it was like I put in a lot of work into this collection, so I'm really proud of how everything turned out. And I only have positive responses.
Yeah, as you should be. I'd love to know, so clearly the jumpsuit has been a fan favorite, but do you have a favorite piece from this collection that you'd like to share?
The dress.
Yes.
Yes, because I'll show the sleeve a little bit. I designed this pattern in 2019 when I just started pattern making at Iowa State. And I really wanted this sleeve. It's open here. Again, it's just a representation of like how flowers open up in the summer. The sleeve is open here on the shoulder. So I developed this pattern and I made a jumpsuit out of it for like a project. But I really wanted this sleeve to be something big. So I'm really like, I'm excited that I was able to recycle this pattern and add a little bit of, I added a bow tie here at the cuff and it's elastic to make it a little bit flare. So just wanted something extra. This is a pattern that I've been just looking at for years and I wanted it to be something big and I'm excited that it turned out to be for this collection. So this dress is definitely my favorite piece. It's my favorite. Yeah.
I can tell just by the smile on your face when you talk.
Thank you.
It's definitely so stunning. So I understand why. Of course. Getting a little bit back into just your career overall, I know you've accomplished a lot, even at this point. What would you say has been your greatest achievement that you're most proud of?
My greatest, if I can think about something really like technical, when I was a student at Iowa State in 2020, when COVID hit, we ended up shutting down everything. And at the time when I was a student there, I was also a teaching assistant in the pattern making class. When the university shut down, we didn't have access to the buildings. Like the students were at home, and we're kind of struggling with the 3D part, like the like CAD pattern making class, and student didn't have access to the computers and all that. So at that time, I started learning 3D design on my own, and I ended up introducing the program at Iowa State. So that's something that I'm really proud of, because I really, like I literally innovated the design major, and I was just an undergrad student, and now they have the 3D design class. Thanks to, I mean, it was also because my professor encouraged me to learn that, and they allowed me to introduce it in the program. So it was like a group project, but that's something that I'm really, really proud of. Other than that, my nonprofit, definitely, it's something that I started working on since 2017, but it didn't materialize until 2021. So that's something that I'm also really proud of. And, among everything else, in October, I was nominated for an alumni award from my community college, and they gave me this. So it's something that I'm proud of. I also had another one from Iowa State. I have this. So it's like,
Yes.
didn't know that I inspired that many people. So it's exciting. It's exciting.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
You should be proud of yourself. Oh my God.
You.
So cool. Love that. You've obviously overcome a lot of obstacles, as we talked about with your problem solving. For you, what would you say for anyone watching that maybe wants to get into this career that may face some of the same obstacles that you did? What is a piece of advice you would offer?
I would say to do a lot of research and network, not just network, but also maintain relationship. If I am where I am today, it's thanks to all the connections that I was able to build, but also maintain those relationships. So research a lot and network a lot, maintain relationship. Don't just network for your own benefit. I mean, you just want to make friends, and don't burn bridges. And something especially that I would tell the students, like I learned a lot at school, but I also did a lot of research outside of school. So a combination of the education that I got at school and the internet, it just ended up matching, and it just helped me like boost my career. So research a lot and build relationship, maintain relationship, and be a good human. Honestly. Yeah.
Overall, 100%. Be a good human. That is so important. Love that advice. Thank you for sharing. Another thing I'd love to know is, what imprint are you hoping to leave in the fashion industry?
So when I think about my career, coming from Africa, usually when you tell people you're from Africa, they don't really think about fashion. They think about war, they think about poverty and all this stuff. But there is so much beauty in Africa, and there are a lot of wonderful designers that come from Africa. So that's like an imprint. I really want people to see at Africa in a different way and see it in a like artistic way. There are so many amazing designers from Africa. So that's something that I really want. Even here, just being in the Midwest, like kind of in the middle of nowhere, coming from Africa, I had to educate a lot of people about my culture, and then everything, like where I get my inspiration from. Like the colors that you see in my designs, they come from our traditional African prints. So I try to kind of play with the colors and make it into an like Western like style. But I really want people to understand that there is a lot that comes from Africa besides poverty and everything they see on the news. So that's something that I really want to see changed in the fashion industry.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love that the imprint you're hoping to leave also comes from where you come from. I find that so beautiful. It's a good full circle moment, Yeah. No, I completely get that. And I know, Belange, we've learned so much about you even in these 20 minutes or so, but if there was one thing you want our Sheinistas to know about you, what would it be?
One thing that I would like, if I was not a designer at this point in my life, I would be a farmer. It's so random, but I would be in the farm. I would be surrounded by goats and chicken and just, have plants. That's something that I think if I retire from fashion, you would find me somewhere, maybe in Nebraska. I would have a farm. It will be open to the public, and that's where you see me. Yeah, it's so random, but that's something that I aspire to do. Yeah.
From fashion to the farm. I'm here
for
the iconic next move for your career.
Yes.
Before we wrap things up, would you be down to play a little rapid fire game
Of
with me? A little
course.
bit of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Leather or denim?
Denim.
Heels or boots?
Boots.
Mini dress or maxi dress?
Maxi, definitely.
Yeah. Art show or comedy show?
Art.
Love it. Handmade or store bought?
Definitely handmade.
Yes.
Always.
In the name. Hello.
Yes.
Patterns or solids?
Pattern, always.
Sweet or sour?
Sweet. Yeah.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Movie or TV series?
TV series.
Love it. And dine in or takeout?
Takeout.
Amazing. Amazing. All around. Well, Belange, is there anything you would love to promote or shout out? Anything we could be out on the lookout for coming up for you?
I would like to inform people that I have another collection dropping in February with SHEIN and another one in April. So just follow me on my page and let's stay in touch. Follow. I also have my nonprofit. I think I have it tagged in my bio, but follow all my pages and let's just stay in touch and be ready for the next drop. That would be amazing.
I love it. I love it. We definitely will. And Belange, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. And you guys make sure to follow Belange right up here. I believe it's in the top right-hand corner, so give her a follow. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I have been your host, Renee Ariel. You guys can check me out at Renee Ariel on Instagram, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.